snacks. What it do, snackers, snackettes, and snack X's? Your boy Gage is here in the building with jokes. Give me a double yo.
Yo,
My
yo.
man. As you can see, we have a very special guest with us. Susan Quilty is joining us for the show today. Thank you for coming and for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. You all who are watching are now tuned into Loading Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week and we talk about things that are happening in pop culture. And today we're going to talk with Susan, for sure, about what she has going on. And we're going to, if we get to the news, we'll probably we get to the news, we're going to talk about Destiny shutting down. We're going to talk about Mandalorian and Grogu and what their box office was like over the weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about what AMC is doing in this new venture they have to show like live concerts, which I think is quite interesting. And then we'll round the show out. Jokes has a job to do, so he'll get our website link up and posted for you. Feel free to check us out there and follow us across the board on social media. It is the easiest way to kind of keep up with us and what we're doing. It's busy season. It's almost always the busy season, but it's busy right now. There's a lot happening, and so that's one of the best ways to keep up. It also will give you a place where you can go and find an additional link to our Patreon. We greatly appreciate any support that we get there. That kind of helps keep the lights on and so forth. And on that note, jokes, it is time for the Patreon 619 Hall of Fame.
Yes, so let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, Ellis Mbe, and Kermit Ferguson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
Indeed, we do. A secondary special shout out to Meticulous Skin, who reached out to me today just to say you were on my mind, and I just wanted to check on you and see how things are going. Greatly appreciate that. Hello, Candace. What is going on? Susan, welcome to the show. This is a long time coming, I feel like.
Sure. Okay.
I mean,
yeah, we've known you for a while.
Correct. Yeah, we've known each other for some time, and we have talked about your works. I have raved about your podcast on this show, and we've kind of briefly talked about that. And so why exactly it took this long, I'm not totally sure, but here we are. So the past is in the past.
Yeah.
I kind of just want to get to know you up front. So here's the thing. I don't remember exactly how we met. I do know that it is through the great group of people that are the folks at like Comic Logic and LotCon and so forth. What is are you a nerd? Are you a pop culture kind of? Are you a comic book person? Talk to me.
Yeah. I would say I am. From way back, selectively a little bit.
Okay.
You know, we all have our things, and hi, Mari.
Hey, Mari.
So, yeah, they're nerd in a lot of the different ways. I was the stereotypical nerd at school.
Okay.
Smart, brainy, like whatever, but I was also into the geeky stuff. I was like super into Star Wars as a kid.
Okay.
Star Wars was a really big one. I don't know if this counts. I was really into G.I. Joe. I don't know if
that definitely counts.
When I was a kid. I was like really into that. And I had a little G.I. Joe little like gang that we had like 3 of us. We rode our bikes and we had code names and walkie-talkies and wore camouflage.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You did the whole thing.
Oh yeah. And I like to say, because you know my husband, Peter.
Yeah.
And I like to joke that the reason he decided to marry me is because I finally beat him at Star Wars Trivial Pursuit one day.
Is that what happened? So he knew you were the one.
Yeah, I think this is what cinched the deal. So
how does one end up in a situation where they're playing Star Wars Trivial Pursuit?
Why would you not play Star Wars Trivial Pursuit?
And that was the right answer. that was exactly the answer, and I think that's why he married you, because your answer to that question was perfect. So you're
what up, Kidlet?
Hey, what's going on,
Miss
Sam?
You too.
Kidlet. So good to see you.
Then that's the other stuff. Like I got really into some of the like Whedon versus all the original, like Buffy and the Angel and the Firefly and like all that track was really big for us. And then, you know, all the Marvel and the DC movies and all of that. I didn't get into X-Men as much, which is weird because Peter's like super into X-Men. So but yeah, I follow.
So
I tend to go with the comics though. I tend to go more for like, what do you call it? Like book adaptations that have been turned into comic books are like my favorite thing. Like the Pride and Prejudice one from Marvel is fantastic.
Yeah. Okay.
I got the Handmaid's Tale one recently that's like really well done. So, or I'll get a lot of comics that are more like one and done. Trying to think of some of the names. Like just
good,
or things
like a good
that.
one shot, just kind of
just the one shots or like short runs that then I'll wait till they come into a trade and like grab those. I don't usually do a lot of the weeklies just because I don't know, it's not really my thing. I will occasionally, like when Gem came out, I was like, oh, you got to get me Gem. Stick Gem in the box because I got to get it. And I read the first couple and I'm like, Peter finally was like, I'm not getting you this anymore. You're not reading it.
You don't actually want to read them, but they were cool to have.
They were cool. Yeah, it was cool to read.
Nice.
Is that for you? Does your nerddom, is that like, were your parents into any of that kind of stuff, or did they just kind of like nurture that in you?
No, I don't think it came from them. I think it was just I was very much, like I said, I felt like I was very much an outcast at school. Just didn't really fit in with everybody for lots of various reasons. And so I was in a really, really small town, really tiny small school. Like my high school was actually, counting like 7th through 12th grade, was like 150 kids. I'm talking like small town.
Wow.
And so there weren't a lot of people around. Things were we lived on the outskirts of town. So I got bussed in. I got to school late. It was a whole thing. I had to go ahead for like my reading and math classes because my parents wouldn't let me skip a grade. And so everything. So everyone thought I was weird. I was like the weird kid who was like only like was split between grades, and it was just all awkward. And so I found the people, the friends I could make, the ones that I got along with, this is what we were all kind of into. So we just kind of did.
You found your people.
Yeah, it was kind of like it was my people. But the flip side of that was because it was such a small town, and I also weirdly was like a cheerleader all through high school and junior high and all of that. So I still had like that crowd. So I was kind of doing that for the sportsy thing, just more, I don't know, because it was something to do. But I'd hang out more with other people, not like outside of that.
You were able to kind of
had a weird mix of people. I was friends with everybody, every group, everywhere. I just kind of wandered around and kind of fit in nowhere, but fit in a little bit everywhere.
Yeah. A jack of all trades to some extent.
I like it.
Yeah, it was just kind of the thing, and it was well, getting to know you thing, not to make it not to bring anything down, but I'll just say, like, my mom died when I was really young. So I had like just turned 13 when my mom died, and so that was a really rough period for me too. So that made things challenging, and my dad worked long hours and taught at a local college and wasn't home much, and so I just kind of was on my own a lot. And so I think I just kind of got used to entertaining myself, and so I would,
So no siblings?
No, I have a brother and sister who are older.
Okay.
Yeah,
but enough older that you still felt kind of alone in that.
It was. My sister had just graduated high school, and she was out of the house, living across the country at the time, and then came home eventually. And my brother was still home because he was 16 when I was 13. But I guess that's part of what maybe got me into some different, again, another kind of crowd, because my brother was a skater, and he built a half pipe out in our yard.
Okay.
It was like the place for the skaters to all come and hang out. So I had my skater circle that I'd hang out with. I had my because I went to Catholic school. So I had this my Catholic school cheerleader good girl, whatever kind of hangout place.
Yeah.
And then I kind of had my I'm dark and twisty because my mom died and I'm sad and I can't get along with you people. So I'm going to go seek out all the other people who are going through stuff, and we're all going to hang out, and we're going to have our kind of people who get it, like people who understand my pain and like my teenage angsty poems and all of the stuff that you do as a teenager. So
Yeah. Is that the time frame for you when you started writing?
No, I started writing before I could even write words, and I was reading and writing
early.
I was like preschool. I was already advanced. I love words. But I would tell stories with these magnets on the fridge that were like people and trees, and I would trace them, and then I would beg my mom to write the stories for me that I had in my head. And I was like, here's the picture. Now this is what it has to say. And I was like making books before I went to school. So I've just always loved making up stories.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of a thing.
Did you, at what point was being an author at any level, did that become like a reality for you? Something you really wanted to pursue?
Yeah. So I went through kind of a interesting path to get there. Basically, I really wanted to go to school for writing, and but my dad didn't really think that was maybe the best career path. So I got pushed into doing more like business stuff, and then I ended up dropping out of college. Long story there. We'll skirt over that. And I was working I went straight into work because I was always good with computers. And so it was the late 90s and tech boom. So I jumped right into working, and I worked in, first I was contracting with the government, doing like IT work. And then I was working in operations at Nextel.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Where I met my husband. So he's an electrical engineer, and he works in telecom. And so that's where we met. And so I did that for a while, but then I mean, it's a good career, especially at the time. It's tech boom, great place, you make money. I was so unhappy.
Really?
I was doing really well at it, but I was unhappy, and I was doodling and I was writing stories and I was doing things on the side. So I decided to take some time and quit my job and spend some time home with the kids and figure out what I wanted to do. And I was going to try writing, and I sort of fell into some opportunities doing freelance writing.
Okay.
So for about 10 years-ish, I was a freelance writer, and I wrote everything everywhere you could possibly imagine. Meaning I wrote for some places like you would have heard of, like I worked for WebMD, or I wrote editorials for the Washington Post. I wrote for San Francisco Magazine. I wrote for a bunch of different places, but then I wrote a lot of small, like niche, like websites, really any job I could get. I wrote copy for the Sears and Kmart catalogs.
Really?
I wrote, there used to be, what is it? Was it ask.com? You used to have like a trivia question every day on it. I was on the
Ask Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves?
I think Ask Jeeves.
I think it was just ask.com. But it was, they had a trivia question every day, and there was like 5 of us that were hired to just submit all the trivia questions. So I did that.
Wow,
I did.
so cool.
There was this funny site that was like a Groupon site, but it was the same kind of style, but it was called Deal Chicken, and it had a chicken theme.
Yeah.
And they had a whole style guide where you had to write up the offers, but you had to write them using all these like chicken puns. Like it.
Okay. All right. I like that.
But they had a whole list of which chicken puns were okay, which ones were like corny, and which ones were cool. And I'm like, I cannot tell the difference. These are all stupid.
They all sound. They're all chicken puns.
Yes.
They're all the same at the end of the day.
It was stuff like, we have an excellent deal for you today, and I'm like, this is.
And that was okay.
That was it was
exactly
bad.
Jokes.
It was bad.
Exactly jokes.
I did not last at that one very long, but it was just I did any bit of writing I could do, and I was working through somebody who would just bring me work, and so I was just like, yeah, I'll take it and I'll do it. And I really wanted to write my own novel, and I was kind of chipping away at it, but frankly, I'd spend all day at the computer just churning out volume as fast as I could for all of these quick other sites. And I just didn't have the energy to write anymore when I wanted to work on my own stuff. I was just tired of staring at the screen. So I had also been practicing yoga forever at that point. And I was talking to one of my yoga mentors, and she said, well, she was asking me if I want to take a teacher training. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, this could be a path. So I took my teacher training, and I started to teach yoga classes. And as I taught yoga classes, I started dropping my freelance writing jobs to take on more yoga classes. So I'd still have money coming in. I was still, doing something, but it was something that wasn't sitting behind the computer.
Yeah.
So then I'd teach during the day. I'd teach yoga whenever I was teaching, and then I'd come home and I would write. And I wrote my book, and I wrote what I wanted to write.
Right.
And so that was a great path for me. That was as planned. What I didn't realize was teaching yoga really helped me after I finished my book to put it out into the world, because through teaching yoga every day, every class you go to, you're public speaking, you're teaching, you're standing in the front of a classroom, you're basically, and you're teaching, and that's a skill. That's a thing. You have to kind of realize that it's okay if not everybody wants to take your classes. There's going to be people there are students who love my classes. There are students who are like, nope, I want to go take whoever's class.
Sure.
Fine. That's cool. I'm the same way. I have my favorite teachers too. I get it.
Of course.
And that lesson helped me feel like, okay, I can put my books out in the world. There's going to be people who read them and love them, and there's going to be people who don't. And it's just like when I teach yoga, and that's fine.
It's okay.
So that really helped me feel comfortable.
So in terms of like finding that space, that the freedom to get over maybe the fear of putting your work in front of people, putting it out there for the world to judge, if you will. When you find that courage and you take that step, what makes you decide to do it on your own, right? Like you're an indie author, if you will. Like, so
that's fine. Indie author, self-published, it's fine. Whatever you want to call it, it's cool.
Yeah. What does it really mean to be an indie author? Like what does that mean? What separates an indie author from anyone who doesn't consider themselves or wouldn't be considered indie?
So that used to be an easier answer. Now things are blurring with what people do, because it used to be a little bit like back when I first started like 10-ish years ago, it was your traditional publishing route where you go and you get the agent and you go to the big publishing companies and you have that whole contract and then there was I'm going to self-publish, do it on my own. Now there are a lot of kind of small press, little small, and there's services too. So where you're self-published, but you're not, because you're hiring somebody else, but you're still hiring them. So you're technically, it's starting to get a little tricky on what's in
right.
And then there are some smaller publishing companies that have been able to come out and actually sign people, and you wouldn't really call it self-publishing, but they're still calling themselves indie because they're small enough. So it seems like everywhere I look, I'm starting to see different definitions of what indie author might mean.
And under whatever your personal definition of what it is that where you want to stay? Like, would you?
Yeah, it's by choice. I had started to go down the querying route and looking for an agent, and I was going to try to do the traditional publishing with my first book, and I started doing that. And I mean, this, who knows? It could change in the future, but right now, no, because I started doing this and I spent about a year or so ish. And it was soul crushing for me because you work with different agents, and I probably should have given it more time, or could have given it more time. So I'm sure there's fabulous agents out there.
Sure.
But it's very hard to connect and break through. And what kept happening to me was I had multiple times where I would have a literary agent who loved my book, and because you start like you send a query, just like something short, and then they're like, we want like 10 pages, or we want this, and we want more. They keep asking for more and more and more. And so I did have a few different runs where people asked for the full manuscript, and they definitely wanted to read the whole thing. I'm like, great, this is going well. They kept telling me, I love it. This is going to be so great. It's just this, just that. It's just going to be, and it would drag on for months where I'm thinking, okay, cool. This is like, it'd be like a month or two or whatever, however long it was. And then they'd ultimately come back and say, you know what? I really love it, but I'm just not 100% sure. So I'm going to pass, but don't worry. Somebody else is going to pick you up because this is fantastic.
Wow. Yeah.
And after like the third time of that happening, and the reason I kept having that happen was people were saying my book and my writing in general, I think still now, it's too literary. It's not specifically genre enough. It's literary, but it has a twist into a genre. So like it's speculative, like especially my first book, it's speculative fiction. It has a little bit of a mystery twist. It has all the stuff. They're like, we love it. We love reading it. It's fantastic, but we're not quite sure how to market it.
We don't know how to categorize it, so we can't market it. Yeah, I get that. I've been there. Yeah.
And we could try, like, did you ever think about like writing more like specifically in a genre and like sticking with the formula? And I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. I want to write the books that I want to write, even if they don't quite perfectly fit anywhere.
Yeah.
So I started getting frustrated that I was getting this message back that they loved my writing, but they didn't want me to write like me. They wanted me to change and write to what the market would be easier to sell.
Yeah.
And I started realizing that's going to be what happens if I go down this route, because that's what publishers are going to do. That's what everyone's going to do. And if somebody out there wants to prove me wrong and wants to come offer me a fantastic deal right now, sure.
Right.
But I just kind of, and I've talked to other people who are traditionally published, and they've kind of said the same thing. And it's not what I wanted to do.
Sure.
So I figured also, I love to write and I want people to read my books. I have no dream. Like my nightmare is being a best-selling author.
Really? Really?
I never want to ever go out. Like I was actually, this sounds ridiculous to say, I was afraid that like, what if my books get really popular and I go places and people know who I am? That would be so uncomfortable. Like, I don't want that.
Really?
Yeah.
A good, bad problem to have.
Yeah. Now, 10 years into this, though, I'm like, you know what? Maybe it would be okay. It would probably.
Sure. Did you ever consider writing under an alias?
Well, that's the thing everyone asks. They're like, if you don't want people to know you, why are you writing under your real name? I'm like, well, because it's my stuff. I still want my name on it.
So you want the credit and not the name.
I want to be like a little successful. I want like a little local. People like, people know me, and I sell enough books that it's kind of like cool. It's worth it. I feel justified in doing this. It's great. I'm just not seeking fame, really.
Got it.
So since I don't want fame, like I don't want to be doing that piece of it very much. Like it's fun doing. I'm getting more used to going on shows. Like you said earlier, why has it been so long? Oh, that's totally on me, because I'm very pulled back. Like I'm like hesitant to talk to people. Yeah. I'm trying to get better now about getting out there.
Your yoga teaching isn't getting you over that hump?
Like well, no, I mean, it does. It's, I'm comfortable doing it. I'm getting more comfortable. It's not like a fear of it. I genuinely am just not, I don't think about doing it. I'm just like, I'm having too much fun writing my books and working on that. And I forget that I should actually be like marketing in them and selling them and promoting them. And it's just not in my vision,
Sort of the art versus the business kind of thing. Like you enjoy the art, you enjoy doing the artwork, the art of writing and getting an idea out and putting it down. And when you settle on a story, when you decide to write something, how much of it is something that, like, how much of the story do you already know when you start?
That's a great question. I am more of a planner,
Okay.
Mhm.
mostly. So I will have a pretty solid outline,
Okay.
but I know the ending for sure. Like the ending is definitely
Okay.
there, and there's some
Okay.
high definite points along the way that are there, but there's a lot of squishy bits in the middle.
Sure.
And there's lots of things that can change as long as I'm going from here to here. And as much as I will love the ending and have it all set, if I'm writing and I start to think, you know what, there's a better ending,
Some
I will change it.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
I have a plan, but I'm open to
To
changing the
adjusting it.
plan as the book evolves. But I
Okay.
need a
I
plan
think
to
that's a
get
good way.
Yeah. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I know people who create from a place of just needing a starting point
Mhm.
versus people who create from a place of having an
Endpoint
an
already.
end
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Um, do
I like having
you
an end. Mhm.
where do you find that you get not necessarily motivation from, but like, do ideas come to you in specific places? Like, could you be in the middle of teaching a yoga class and an idea just kind of pop into your head, and then you're like, I really want this
Oh,
class to be over so I can go
so
write
I
this
can get out
down,
here
or
and
I can
start
go
writing
put,
this
like,
down.
you know what I mean? Not but
Yes.
you know,
My phone, I have the my little notes app and my little whatever, and I just I
yeah,
pull it out. Yeah, the book I'm working on now, which I'm not going to talk about just because I don't like talking about it while it's in process, but I will say,
sure.
because it's funny to me, because this is the first time this happened. The book I'm working on now, I feel so silly saying this, but it came to me in a dream.
Okay,
It was
it
like
happens.
we were on vacation last October in this like beautiful cabin, and it's all like pretty trees and everything, relaxed, just whatever. And I woke up one morning and I was like, I have an idea. And I was like, Peter, I have to tell you this. And I just started telling him this whole story. And
Yeah.
is this a thing? Is this a book? And he's like, I think that's a book. And I was like, I think it is too.
Mm,
And so I just pulled out my phone and I have big long
Started.
notes. I just wrote out a good chunk
everything.
of the outline right there because it
Do you
all
do
made
you
sense.
tend to have more than one idea that like things that are kind of in play?
Mhm.
How do you decide what to work on? How do you decide what gets your attention when you have multiple ideas like that?
Um, whichever one my brain is focused on, I guess.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
really, I will work on something for a long time, and then sometimes like, I guess people talk about like writer's block. I don't know if I know what that really is. To
Okay.
me, it's like I'll be working on something and I hit a point where I'm like, "Ooh, this doesn't feel natural. I don't know. I'm coming up a
Mm,
little bit stuck. I'm not quite sure where I want it to go,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm going to put it down." And
okay.
then what was that other thing I had? Let me go work on that a little bit, and I'll just play around with something in the
Kind of go
background,
back and forth a little
other
bit.
idea. And then as soon as I stop thinking about it for a little while, my brain will go, "Oh, I got it. I know what the answer is." And then I'll go back to it. So I
Okay.
just kind of I
You
let
can
my
kind of bounce
conscious
back and
mind
forth.
kind of noodle through those problems and tell me where my focus is. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Well, why don't let's take a look at some of the stuff that you've done.
Okay.
Um, the insistence of memory. We talked about this at LotCon because it's on Audible, right?
It
Mm-hmm.
It's
is. Yes. So
um
this is my first novel. So
yeah.
this is the one I actually wrote it in, well, the idea of it, I'd been working on it the whole time I was a freelance writer. I mean, for years and years before bits and pieces, but I pretty much wrote it in 2015 and it came out in 2017 because I was doing that traditional publishing thing first.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time since this book was written and since it came out. But this year, it is now my first audiobook. And I'm
Okay.
super
Yeah.
excited to finally have an audiobook.
Yeah.
Um, it's something I've always wanted to do. It's challenging because it's not something I can do myself. I
Mhm.
tried, I was playing around with it, I've practiced. That's partly why I did the podcast to try to practice.
Yeah.
I can narrate, I can't do character voices.
Got it.
It's not
It's not where you are.
it's not in my skill set. I'm never going to go learn how to do this for this. I
What?
can do a lot of things. Like I do all my own book covers. I do all my art. I do like all kinds of stuff. But this, I was like, no, this is
That's
not.
the
Not
one
not
thing
your
is
thing.
like,
But it sounds you found the right person, I think.
I did. So,
Um,
and I found her through yoga. She's one of my yoga students. So
yeah.
it's a local woman who is a voiceover artist named Jenna Rose Stein. She
Mhm.
is fantastic. We were chatting after class one day and just realized she's a voiceover artist and she didn't know that I was a writer. And so we started talking, hit it off really well. Said, let's make an audiobook. And so I
Let's do
hired her
something together.
and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. I listened to it. Um, this has quite the twist at the end.
Oh, did
I'm
you
not gonna
listen
give
to
it
the whole
away.
thing?
Oh yeah,
Oh, cool, cool.
yeah. I listened to the whole thing.
Well, I
It's
mean,
got
it just
it.
came out not that long ago, so I didn't know if you'd like,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I listened to the whole thing. But I'm a the way I podcast and listen to things, I'm like a 1.5 speed, 2 times speed, you
Sure.
know, person. Because generally my time, like driving or going to work or something like that, is pretty limited. So I listen that way. But um, yeah, I mean, it's incredibly well done. I the story does have, when you were saying that you kind of like, there are elements that maybe lean in one genre, but to also feel like they're something different. Like there's a lot of that. Like there's elements of mystery slash sci-fi slash, like there's a lot of that, right? And
Yep.
um yeah, I'm a sucker for a really good like plot twist.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. Not
Oh, cool.
like in terms of thinking it wouldn't be, but like again, I like a really good plot twist. I'm not always looking, like I don't go into a story like I hope there's a plot twist, but
mhm.
but like but if
It's
there
fun.
is one and
Yeah.
it's one that I don't
Don't see
pick up
coming,
on right away,
pick up
because
and look.
I'm pretty good at ruining things for myself that way by guessing what's gonna happen or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I do highly recommend, like if you're I am not much for being able to sit down. My brain doesn't work that way. For me to sit down and go through a novel, like I can't do that, right? But audiobooks make it easier for me. And so like if you're I mean, I'd encourage picking up the book anyway, but like if you're a person who would do better with audio, I would
Mhm.
highly recommend doing that. Um
Oh, you have no idea how much you're like. I'm like just trying to sit here calmly, but my heart is like, oh, I'm so excited. You love my book. It
yeah,
makes me
well
so
that
happy.
you told me about it, and that's like, that marketing thing, that business thing
I know,
we
right?
talked about.
I've got to do
Yeah.
that. I've got to talk about my books.
Imagine that. Now,
Yeah, right?
tell me a little bit about this. We talked a little bit about it also at LotCon, but talk to me about To the Left of Death.
Okay, To the Left of Death, my second novel. Whew, where do I start with this one? This one is see, this is why I can appreciate what the agents were telling me. It's kind of hard to sell my books because
Okay.
I don't really know how much to say about them.
Hmm.
Something I'm working on. This is my only book that's written in the first person.
Mm,
Okay.
So it has a more emotional kind of a feel to it. It takes you on a roller coaster. And it is about a young woman who she's a school teacher. She was present when somebody died. It's a few years later. She's really having a hard time coping with that,
Hmm.
but the rest of the world has moved on. So like you were just there, like get over it. But
Yeah.
it was really traumatic. And she picks up her old sketch pad and she starts drawing again. And that's what kind of helps her reconnect to the world. She
Okay.
starts making more friends. She starts digging what happened to that person. And she starts to fall into this kind of trap that I think a lot of us do when we're dealing with traumatic things or just big things in our lives, where you kind of want to know more. So you start digging into the past, but at some
Yeah.
point you have to let go and just move forward. So it
Hmm.
plays a lot with that and figuring it out and going through her emotional journey
Okay.
of doing this. I mentioned, or maybe I didn't mention this. My well, this is my dad's favorite book. So he likes me to tell people
Okay.
that this is his
Okay.
favorite book.
Okay.
And I was shocked when he still tells me that. He still says, just the other day I mentioned it, and he said, "Yep, that's my favorite book," because I didn't think that I told him, "You don't even have to read this one if you don't want to," because I always give it to him before it comes out, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is emotional. He's like electrical engineer, tough, like whatever.
Yeah.
Talk about his emotions. He's older. He's like older silent generation. He's 90 now, actually. Just turned
Wow.
90
Okay.
last summer.
That's awesome.
But he read it, and he called me, and he's like, this book, it's genius. And I was like, what?
Wow.
Like, how did you write this book? It's so moving, and it tells such an interesting story, and all that. And he went on and on and on, and I was like, wow, okay, this is surprising. So he's like, tell everybody it's my favorite. I'm like, they don't know you, but okay.
That's awesome.
It doesn't matter. And like, it's still
it's fun. Yeah.
It's his glowing recommendation.
Yes.
Right. And I think that's important. So this was, what year was this?
So this one came out the next year, so it'd been 2018.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I was saying it had a little bit of a delay because right when it was about to come out, I broke my foot, and that kind of threw things up for a little bit. But then it came out and it was fine. Yeah.
Hanging with the skater kids again? Broke your foot?
No, just my silly little body decided to fall over and break his foot.
just changed his mind one day. It happened.
Like, not today.
Yep.
I need to slow down.
So this is a trilogy here, the Psychic Traveler Society.
The Psychic Traveler Society. So this is where I shifted into writing a young adult.
Okay.
Which my new book's not going to be. I say it's young adult because the main character is a teenager, and because I did write it with teenagers and young adults in mind, but also it's really for adults too. It's
okay.
Anybody can enjoy young adult books.
Okay.
I love reading young adult books, so it's cool. But what's the process for you? What's it like deciding or coming to a place where you're like, this is going to be 3 books, like this will be a trilogy? What's different in this versus when you do your other books and like you get to the end and it's the end? Mm-hmm. Well, the first two books, I just planned them to just be novels. Although I get people from the Insistence of Memory, people all the time ask me if I'm going to write a second book for that. And I'm like, no, I think it ends fine. I don't want to write a second book. I like it.
It does, but you could.
I could, but the with this, when I came up with the idea for it, right away I knew that. Well, first of all, I thought it was going to be more than 3 books. I actually thought maybe I didn't know how many books. I actually thought maybe like 5 or 6 books, and then as I was writing it, I decided I really want to go write other things. I don't want to be writing this forever, much as I loved writing this. And it also felt like it was wrapping up. And so it could have maybe been 4, but I decided to just pull it in to do 3 because it was also the first book came out in 2019. And then there were the pandemic years where things were kind of kept pushing things out. And I just kind of felt like I wanted to, was ready to wrap it up and do other things. But the story itself just lends itself to being more than 1 book, I think, because the story is about Amanda Jones. She's just starting high school, and she has this Victorian house, this big old house that she always daydreams about. She doesn't know why. It's just there. She thinks about it all the time. And early on in the book, she realizes if she opens a door, she looks through, she sees this wild, crazy world. It's like purple trees and grass and all this, everything's purple and weird. And she steps through and she can actually be transported there. So it's, portal fiction. Okay. She thinks she's crazy. She's not. The twist is that she has this very super rare genetic ability to be a psychic traveler. And there's a shadow organization called the Psychic Traveler Society. And right about the same time she discovers it, they discover her and have to find her and tell her. It's a skill that usually comes up when you're in your maybe mid 20s or later.
Yeah.
She's just turning 15.
Okay.
So they're
she's
like,
early.
yeah, they're like, so she's around really a bunch of adults where they're like, what do we do with you? You're on
Right.
teacher. And she's like, what do I do with this massive secret that I suddenly have in my life that I just want to be a normal teenager? And so she, you know, she has one friend who figures out with her, but other than that, through the thing, she has to figure out varying degrees of when people find out and what happens, the way these things kind of work.
Yeah.
And I really wanted it to be a coming of age story, so I needed more than one book to spread it out and let her kind of explore, what are these new abilities, what am I doing, where am I going with this? And so each book just kind of brings her through until it ends up being, it doesn't perfectly follow each school year, but it pretty much gets her through the end of high school.
Okay. I like it. Now we're gonna talk freely, which there is a book for Freely Written, but also Freely Written is your podcast.
Yes.
So let's talk about Freely Written before we get into this last book that we have.
Sure. Yeah. So Freely Written, started it in 2021. That was another thing that came out of the pandemic, being home. I wasn't teaching as much yoga just because everything was kind of closed down, and had some time. And I was toying with the idea of doing an audiobook. So I wanted to see if I could narrate or what would happen. I also, at the time, I don't have it anymore, but I had a Patreon for a while. And so I was putting up I was writing these little short stories just for fun. And I was like, you know what? I could narrate short stories and make them these little quick episodes. So they're all around 10 minutes, give or take. And it's called Freely Written because I take a word or a phrase. That's the title of the story. I don't let myself plan it at all. I sit down, write anything that comes into my wild, crazy little brain. I do try to keep it like family friendly.
Sure.
Just to make it easier on people, especially because I have friends who have young kids who want to listen to it too. So I just keep it that way. Otherwise, any genre, any style, anything, it's a great outlet for me, since I am such a planner, to do something that's not planned. And then when I finish writing it, I do not edit it. Like, I don't even go and read it before I go and record it. I say it could be lightly edited. That just means if while I'm reading it, I realize, I missed a word or I put the wrong name, I'll fix little things like that. But otherwise, I just put it out there. It's the idea of telling people, look, you can be creative and have fun, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be polished. It doesn't have to be something you're trying to sell. It can just be a fun, creative outlet, and just get out there and try it. And some of the stories, I'm surprised at how well they come together. I'm like, wow, how did I write that? And other ones, I'm like, I don't know what that was. That was weird. That was really weird, but I'm going to put it out there anyways. I have not had a story that I wrote that I did not put out. There's nothing I've written that I've been like, nope, that's too bad, I'm not going to put it out there. I put them all out.
And so then once the podcast, or you had enough stories, you collected them into a physical book.
So the book is tomorrow's episode will be number 165. So I've been
been at it.
Now when I first started, there were some commentary episodes mixed into that where I'd go back and talk about them, but it's only a handful of those. So it's 100 and some. It's definitely over 150-ish stories. But after, I think it was within like a first year of doing the podcast, some of the people who listened to it said, hey, why don't you grab just some of your favorites from there and just throw them into a little book that you could bring to like events and stuff to sell. So I said, all right. And I just grabbed like 10 stories and I just threw them all into one little book and I bring it with me. Sometimes people like to buy it. And for people who would prefer to read short stories instead of listening, it's a nice little gift for people or just to have.
Was it difficult for you to pick 10 stories that were your favorites? Did you kind of already have an idea of which ones you liked the most?
Yeah, I don't even remember. It might be more than 10. I can't remember how many are in it. Actually. I said 10, but it could totally be more. I forget. When I started looking back through it, it was hard. There were a few, like I really wanted to include the first one.
Yeah.
Grocery store sushi, because I love the name of it, and that was like the first one that I sat down and did, and it was fun. Then there's a few there's some that have, even though you can listen in any order, so you don't have to worry about they're all mixed up, but there's some where I went back and revisited the same idea a few times, and so I like grabbed a couple of those and put them in together, so it kind of made logical sense which ones I picked to sort of, and I tried to get some from different styles of writing too.
Sure.
Just a good mix of it more. So it wasn't exactly like necessarily my favorites. It was my favorites that was a good sample. Gave you a sample of kinds of stories that you could hear.
Okay. And then finally in this list, Audrey and Esther.
Yes. Audrey and Esther Geekify Greenville. Yep. That's it's a mouthful. So this was what I wrote in 2020 during lockdown or ish. I guess we were still in lockdown. I needed something light and funny and silly and just completely no substance to do. I actually wrote this, and some people who knew me back then know this, because my what was I on? I think I was on the second book of the Psychic Travelers. It got delayed because I actually had COVID very early on, and I was sick for about a year. And it really threw things off. And so while I was recovering, I just couldn't focus. My brain was, I was foggy. And it was just, couldn't think straight, and I couldn't do anything with too much work. So I was like, I'm just going to do something really, really silly. I'm going to write a choose your ending style book. And I had no idea how to do it. I was like, I'm just going to make something. I'm just going to make up a little spreadsheet, and I'm going to figure it out. And then I said, well, I'm going to make it harder. So I took 3 different genres, and I took sci-fi, fantasy, and rom-com. And I took all the different tropes that you would find over and over. And I was like, okay, I'm going to throw all of that in there. So when I planned it out, it's these 2 friends that are at like a pop culture con.
Yeah.
And they're working there. So they're there the whole weekend. And when the way I planned it, there are basically 3 different tracks in the book with all of those different genres. And each of those have multiple endings and multiple things, but they also made it so that they all can crisscross. So no matter which way you jump around through the stories, the way they potentially can get to them, you could end up with any of those genres. You can end up with a mashup of all the genres. You can get anything.
Okay.
And it has like aliens and wizards and love triangles, and it's just super silly. There's 22 possible endings.
Wow.
There's a time loop, if you can find it, where you're just kind of like, wait, I think I read this before. What is happening? And it was so fun to plan. I'm a very puzzle person. I love doing any kind of logic puzzles and crossword puzzles and all of that. So puzzling through and putting this together was just it's what I needed. Like
very, very satisfying. I can imagine.
I like that.
Yes. Yeah. It was fun. So it's just a super silly, fun book.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think that sounds like the most difficult thing. It does. It sounds like I love puzzles and solving puzzles, but the idea of putting a puzzle together is not like I'm
out the window.
Like it just sounds like and feels like a lot of work. And that's not the way I want to work, right? My brain works very differently than I feel like most people's does, but that's not where I would want to spend my time. But I have a very high appreciation for people. I'm fascinated. Like I get stuck in like a rabbit hole of watching people make like puzzle boxes on YouTube and stuff like that, because I just think it's fascinating to watch people come up with the puzzles,
those type of
ideas.
I
think that's pretty awesome. Jokes, you have a bunch of links. We need to share Susan's links. So obviously your website,
which is just susanquilty.com, which I try to have everything there. So that's the main one.
Super, super easy. I'm going to tell you that, not that the books aren't important, but I think my favorite thing about your website is is the section you have specifically on how to support like an indie author.
Oh, cool.
I think it's really smart. I think it's really well done.
Thank
I
you.
highly recommend. I did put that as a link, Jokes.
Got that one up there too.
Oh,
Look, I
sweet.
just think it's really good information for anybody who wants to support someone, right?
Mhm.
That they want to see do well, or they want to help their work. And I think that the list of things that you give people as ways to be supportive, again, they're not all always monetary. It's sharing things. It's I just think is really cool and is really important. And I kind of feel like it's the kind of thing that's core to being independent, right? In a
Mhm.
lot of ways. So I definitely wanted to make sure that I called that out. Obviously you have your Instagram and so forth, and you can pretty much get to everything from your website. So look, I highly recommend.
It was like send it to our Who's group chat ASAP.
Sweet.
That's
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, she's got friends that go to like book conventions.
Oh, that would be sweet because I need to get myself out there more. I need to be better about the marketing thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We spent a lot of time, my daughter and I, with her friend last night, talking about the umbrellas of genres like horror, and like how you kind of can't, so many things, it's so difficult to nail things down into one
Mhm.
genre now, that like when you were talking about what publishers were trying to do, I'm like, I don't know, now it might be so different because things are like everything's kind of bleeding into one another in terms of like what kind of genres things are.
Mm.
um so yeah, I highly encourage everybody to, follow Susan, check out the books, listen to the audiobooks.
Yes.
I hope that you have more of that coming, you know what I mean, in
Yeah,
the
I'm
future.
hoping to. I mean, kind of expensive to be honest. I mean, just put it all
I get
together
it.
and everything. So I'm hoping to like sell a few more of the first one before I go do another one. So
Understand.
Totally fair.
yeah,
Again, that page on how to help support your
yes,
indie
how to
work,
support
like
the
that's
author. Yeah,
let's
and
let's
because I mean, I think I know I'm doing this, and I know a lot of other people are doing this too. And I keep trying to support all the other indies out there because it's like I've got a little merch shop with like T-shirts. I mean,
sure.
I'm throwing
Mhm.
everything out there that'll stick, that'll just like anything somebody might want because I'm
Mhm.
trying to raise enough money so I can do things like make more audiobooks, and so I can,
Right.
There you
I
go.
can just keep and make more, publish more of my own books and pay to go to events and do the things, and it's not cheap to
Yeah.
do all of this stuff. So
Definitely not. Totally get it.
yep.
Might be worth looking at that Patreon again. I'm just
I
saying,
know. Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I'll
you
restart
know.
that.
Um yeah, listen, I want to thank you for like, coming here and spending some time with us. Hanging out here is really cool to have you. We're going to like, show usually runs an hour. We're going to dig a little bit into some of the news, and again, if you
Mm.
want to hang out, you can.
I think I got a little bit.
Okay. But look, a lot of this stuff we're gonna put a pin in. I'm just gonna let you guys know that like we're gonna
Mhm.
get into some of these things, and we're gonna put a pin in some things. So we do now have a separate podcast that is just for Patreon, where we
Mhm.
can take the time to dig into some of the news items, or things that we don't get a chance to talk about at all. We can kind of speak a little bit more in depth in those spaces, and like watch trailers and stuff without YouTube like giving us a copyright strike and that kind of thing. So we're definitely gonna do that. Go support Susan. We're getting ready to transition into hashtag WHHW, which of course is what happened. What had happened was, which is last week's news, right? Jokes over
Somewhere
there,
over there.
somewhere.
Somewhere there. I don't know. Somewhere.
Yeah, look, hook me up really quickly.
Number one.
All right, so look, let's dig into this really quickly. Mando and Grogu at the box
Mhm.
office. So domestically, the movie pulls in about 81 million, right? About 165 million worldwide. Now, according to all the information we do have, the movie cost about $165 million to make. But
Mhm.
that generally means they need to make somewhere in the like 500 to $600 million realm to break even, which I know sounds ridiculous. but it's true. Here's what seems to be happening. This, in terms of being a Star Wars movie, they did not spend the kind of money they normally spend making a Star Wars movie. Solo was somewhere in like the $300 million range to make, right? So in order to make that back, they have to be somewhere in like the $800 million to basically $1 billion range in order to get that back. And so what seems to be happening is that even though the numbers aren't quite hitting what is normally expected for a Star Wars level show, exactly.
Definitely so.
That seems low. It is low. It's low for a couple of things. It is low for a Star Wars film. It is low for a holiday weekend, a 4-day weekend. Where especially like here it rained all weekend, which tends to force people to the theater. There is some competition in Obsession, which is kind of like out of nowhere,
and it's doing pretty well.
Yeah, taking a little bit of a buzz off of things. And what truthfully seems to be happening is like it doesn't seem like the people who are going to see this movie are like your standard diehard Star Wars people. It's more families, which is where this seems like it's geared. It seems like this film is geared a little bit more towards families, which again makes the box office seem low, because you would think that on a holiday weekend, school is ending, that kind of thing, you might see a little bit of a higher number. I'm gonna be honest. What I think we're gonna see is Toy Story come out in like a month. Toy Story 5 is gonna hit, and it's gonna
that's gonna demolish.
Yeah, like I think it's just because I think that people already know that that's a family thing to take people to, and I think for this, if you watched The Mandalorian as a show, it doesn't feel like a show for kids. And so when you take that character and that concept and you make it a movie and you decide you're doing it for kids, I think people are unsure.
There's a disconnect. It's almost like a disconnect when it comes time, because it's like I watch the show, or like say, hey, I vetted the show to make sure, do I want to let my kids watch it? But now when you flip flop and make the reverse, it's like, well, I didn't let my kids watch the show. Should I let them watch the movie and then circle and pick? Yeah.
And it's not like kids could watch the show, right? It's not specifically not kid friendly, if you will, but it is a little heavy at times. And there are definitely themes that feel geared more towards adults and Westerns, if you will. Andrew said, I was thrown for a loop when the Hutt spoke English. Listen,
I brought that up during Spoiler Boys.
we recorded a Spoiler Boys about it to get, so like if you really want our full thoughts on the movie, watch Spoiler Boys. It's actually hitting in like 30 minutes. It's already on Patreon, and it is already on Spotify. So if you just want to listen, you can do that. But if you really kind of want to hear us dig into it and what we liked and didn't like and all that kind of stuff, definitely watch the Spoiler Boys. My elevator thoughts on this are that Disney is, unfortunately, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, unfortunately trying to do what Disney has a tendency to do, which is take a thing. I think that the popularity of Grogu caught them off guard and immediately became the kind of thing that they thought, we have something in this that really could bring in a younger audience and kids or whatever. And I don't think that was the original plan. And so I think that trying to figure out how to make that fit, it doesn't make it not a fun movie, but it does kind of put us back in what Susan was talking about earlier, where like maybe you're not sure what genre or where exactly this falls and who this is for. That's kind of where I'm on that. Susan, I saw you all at the theater. I mean, you enjoyed it, right?
Yeah, I liked it. Well, that was great. Yeah. I'll be honest though, I went into it with like low expectations. Yeah, because I didn't know. I liked the show. It was great. I had a little. Won't get into all the Boba Fett stuff, but there was a little. I think we know where I'm going with that. That maybe made me wonder what this was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I had fun with it because I decided it was just going to be
Agreed.
that's
Yep.
Yeah.
it. I went into it just saying I'm just going to go watch Mando and Grogu just go on an
Go
adventure.
on an adventure.
Yeah.
That's
That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. I
all.
mean, look, I we talked about it a little bit. I think that there's like even some of the trailers kind of gave it that like it's this kind of almost an 80s Goonies kind of adventure kind of vibe in the way that they advertise it. I don't know that it quite meets that in the film itself, but it's a good time. And I'm gonna
hmm
tell you right now, it certainly sounds like Star Wars. Like I just like there is something to be said about being in the theater and hearing Star Wars. Like, you know. Um so I think like if you're a big fan, like you should go see it in the theater.
Yeah.
I think if you're not already sold on Mando and Grogu, you could
Wait
wait.
till it hits Disney Plus.
Technically, I think you'd be
Mhm.
okay
Yeah. I don't even
if
think
you
I
waited.
watched the trailers. We just bought tickets as soon as they came out just because we're like,
Mhm.
oh, we're obviously going
Well,
to
we're
see
It's
it.
Star
watching the
Wars.
show,
I
so
mean,
Right,
this
right.
is never even a question.
Yeah. I mean, that was my second viewing, and I actually think I think it was better the second time I watched it.
Okay.
So, there's something to be said for that. Jokes?
mhm.
Number two.
All right, Jokes, I'm gonna let you shed a tear really quickly because Destiny 2 is coming to an end. They have announced that what is it, June 9th,
June 9th.
they'll do the last update for Destiny. It's called the Monument of Triumph.
Mhm.
And then they are going to go into what they're calling maintenance mode, basically meaning that while there won't be any new content or any new updates for the servers for the game itself, the
Mhm.
game will continue to exist and people will be able to play it and
Mhm.
continue to play. Are you going to cry?
I'm not going to cry.
Okay,
As much as I've had a love-hate relationship, like overall, I have to say I love Destiny.
I
I
know.
love what it's done. As these last couple of updates, they shifted into Destiny 2, got off to an okay start, and then midway through, it kind of got a little shaky and things fell off.
Mm-hmm.
So for me personally, this doesn't make me, I am kind of like, oh man, it's shutting down. Well, it's ending the updates, but you can still
Right.
go in and play because by all
Sure.
means, like I love the gameplay. I love a lot of the mechanics and stuff that the game does, but I'm not upset.
Okay.
If this is going to be the door to open to eventually maybe moving into a Destiny 3, if that is even going to be a thing, so
We're
be
gonna
it.
put
But
a
if
pin in
this
that.
put a
We're
pin
gonna
in
put a
that,
pin in that. We're definitely gonna talk about that after this is over.
or if this ends up like some toys in Toy Story where they're just going to shelve the Destiny project, I think maybe honestly this may be a good opportunity to maybe look at other avenues for how Destiny works. Like I think Destiny could be like a decent, like a short form show, like where you have maybe some missions and things, something along the lines of that.
All
I
right.
think the I think the game maybe has just come to a place where like let's pump the brakes
So
if we're
you're
going to go
you're
in
you're
different.
thinking there's some good like multi-channel,
I think there's some other
multimedia options
avenues
that are
that they could go
possible for
into
the
with
world.
Destiny and keep it around. But
Okay.
otherwise, I'm not. I kind of saw the writing on the wall for a while that this was probably going to show up if it's sooner or not. But
Yes.
I'm just happy that at least they're able to keep the game alive and let people still be able to go in, play it, enjoy it if you do, because it always sucks when it ends up saying, yeah, we're shutting down. And then on June 9th, you get your last update, but then on December 31st, the game is going to shut down and you can't do nothing with it.
Which, to
That's
be honest, could still happen. Like, let's
it still
not
could happen.
again, and we'll put a pin in it. But like, this you can't really talk about this without talking about what the future of Bungie as a developer is going to be like without Destiny and with what's happening with Marathon. Like, we'll put a pin in it. We'll come back
Mm.
to it. But I'm glad you won't cry. Well, that remains to be seen. I'll check in with you on June 10th. We'll see. We'll see if that ends up being the case. Hook me up.
Number three.
All right, so look, we have talked a lot of times on this very show about what is happening with movie theaters, what direction they are going, our popcorn bucket's going to be enough to save people going to the theater. They got a lot of money out of me last week. I will tell you that.
I only got one bucket. I got one bucket.
Yeah, well, I got 3 and and like 2 blankets and a cup. It was not cheap, but like they're all really cool. Anyway, that's not the point. Anyway, um so AMC announced, they did a press release the other day. They are partnering with a company called Arena One to like start showing concerts at the theaters. I'm gonna read a bit from the press release, just because it is. I mean, it's a press release, so there's a lot of information you don't really need, because it's press releases like this are really written more for shareholders. This is the kind of thing that says, "Hey, don't lose faith in us as a company. We're doing other things to kind of keep the chain alive, if you will." Right? But so Arena One and AMC theaters launch a first of its kind shared live concert experience nationwide beginning in June. This says, in a new era of shared live entertainment, fans and artists connected in real time with live concerts shared in more than 300 AMC locations in 89 markets across the United States. From Arena One's purpose-built stage, musical artists performed live to audiences across the country while seeing and responding to fans at AMC locations through innovative interactive technology that connects fans and the artists in real time. The first Arena One concerts at AMC theaters will feature BB Rexa, Paris Hilton. I'm just gonna.
I did the
sorry,
same thing.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Maren Morris, Kim Petras, and more. So, look, without digging too much into it, the first concept. Let's see, BB Rexa's June 17th, Paris Hilton June 18th. So, like, they're going 17th, 18th, 19th, the 20th. All experience live in 300 AMC locations. So, in a nutshell, AMC is looking at other ways to take the chains they have, the buildings, the brick and mortar buildings that they have, and find ways to continue to be profitable in an era where a Star Wars movie only brings in $165 million worldwide. Clearly, that's not all AMC, right? You have Regal, so it's not just them. So finding other ways to stay relevant and to give people reasons to go to the theater and enjoy an experience in a theater. I think concerts is one of the best ways to do it. For years, theaters have done things like, oh, you can have business meetings here and use the big screen and they've done stuff like that forever. But truthfully, being able to give somebody the sound experience and the screen experience that is close to what it would be like to go to a concert, when that concert is nowhere near you,
miles and miles away,
when that artist is somebody you really like, but you maybe don't have the money to go to a concert, so you can go to the theater with your friends and experience it together. I think it's a smart idea. How it nets out, and in terms of what profit is like, and a theater's ability to control concessions, right? Because that's really where they make their money, is in concessions. Maybe if, again, we don't have all the details, but I think there might be some benefit in being able to send concert level gears, t-shirts, bags, that kind of stuff to theaters that people who are going can still purchase at the kind of ridiculous prices they generally spend at a concert. Could really be a way for them to offset some of the losses that they're seeing with what's happening with streaming services, and that kind of being a true disruptor to what has been a profitable business for them that they've had a lot of control over, that they just don't have that same control anymore. Do you have thoughts on this, Jokes?
I think it's a good idea. It's one of those things that, just like you said, we kind of have to pan out and see how it goes. But I believe concerts, especially, like, I'm going to use probably one of, like, a BTS. Obviously, don't do but so many shows in certain areas. But if you can pack a theater full of all those BTS fans, like they're gonna
They do.
flock to their local theater to be able to see it if they can't get to a concert. And
Mhm.
then that also opens the door where you see maybe like, certain exclusive ones where maybe, hey, the only way for you to see this concert if you aren't necessarily in this state or this country or whatever is to come to an AMC
Mhm.
theater to be. So I think it's a good play. And then obviously, popcorn buckets, t-shirts, glow sticks.
Popcorn buckets.
I don't know, anything that you could possibly name. I feel like they could just throw at it for people to be able to come in. But I think that's
Yeah.
a good. I think this will be a good, new, interesting venue that I would like to see how it rolls out.
Susan, are you a concert goer? Could you see yourself going to a theater to watch a concert?
That's what I've just been thinking. I've been sitting here thinking about that. And yeah, because if you think about it, some of the shows you go to, depending on where your seats are, and
Mhm.
you might be watching it more on the big screens anyways, even though
Correct.
you're there live.
Yep.
If especially if you go to like Wolf Trap and you're like up on the lawn or something and you're watching, it's like you're there, but you're still watching it on a screen anyways.
I
Hmm.
So
agree.
if they let you have that vibe where you can like stand up and sing and like have that
Mhm.
kind of loose thing with other fans, that might be, I could see it maybe.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what the live experience brings to people is the experience you have with other people who are
Yes.
there for the concert. So the fact that other people can be there singing along, cheering, and so forth. Look, if the sing along version of K-pop Demon Hunters is any indication, people will go to the theater and sing along. Like that's
Right.
not even so I think that there is something to be said for it. Now, I don't know if Paris Hilton is going to make like
I
I don't know if these particular people they're announcing
But
will do it.
does Paris Hilton sing? Does she do?
She does have
Okay,
dabbles.
I didn't even know that. So,
yeah, and that's good for you because you, you didn't miss much.
okay.
I will say this: Paris Hilton actually does have kind of a ridiculous following in terms of she like DJs. She has a like a like a ridiculous following for her music specifically.
Huh.
It's yeah. But you know,
Good
so
for her,
maybe
I guess.
because yeah, because look, there are
Whatever.
all kinds of artists that
Yeah.
people have never heard of, and there are
Hmm.
people who are like, if you think of even like an indie artist who maybe tends to do shows in smaller
Mhm.
venues.
Hmm.
If there's an opportunity for them to reach more people or in cities where they
Hop on the
can't
big
normally
screen.
Yes.
travel to,
That's an excellent way to do it.
I almost feel like that I'd be more interested in even doing, because I really want to
yeah,
support some of the more indie
right,
people. And if they can get on something like that, I'd be like, yeah, yeah, let's go show some love for them. Let's get them.
yep,
Yeah. And I can't really go because they're only in a few small cities
exactly,
and you're not there. So yeah, I can see
exactly.
that.
Look, I think it remains to be seen, how well it does and what it turns into, but we'll know at least part of it in like a month because the first
Hmm.
few shows are getting ready to happen. So we'll see. Um, look, that brings last week's news to an end. What had happened is over, and technically it brings the majority of the show to an end. All we have left now to do is close out. So again, we're gonna put a pin in it. There's a
Hmm.
couple of things we got to talk about, right? Jokes. We'll do that later. So for the Patreon members, you'll be able to check that out. Um, no later than tomorrow. We'll record it tonight and get it uploaded, but no later than tomorrow. So we'll talk about that. I also kind of want to talk a little bit more about what I think is next for Star Wars, having come out of Mando and Grogu and just kind of trying to figure out they decided to cancel the Ray movie. It's like there's a lot of moving parts and a lot that's happening. So I kind of want to talk about what I think is next for Star Wars. Um, what I want to remind you to do is as we close out Mental Health Awareness Month is mind your mental health, please. Um, if you are looking for someone to talk to, if you need someone to talk to, we have made ourselves available. People do reach out to us. They will DM us, what have you. We will make time. But try to do something you love every day, something you enjoy for yourself. Take a moment, go outside, take a deep breath. I'm not gonna say touch grass because I don't even necessarily like the feeling of grass, but you know, go outside. And look, if going outside isn't your thing, right? Then, find something that you can do inside.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Pick up a coloring book. I find it to be really relaxing. It seems really silly, but they have a lot of like adult.
Yeah.
Wait, coloring books for grown-ups. Adult coloring books made it sound like it was like I was gonna like it was gonna
Oh,
be like
I get
like
it.
yeah, you know. But
wait, I gotta say real quick.
Sure.
Peter brought me once Jason Momoa adult
Yes.
coloring book with him being all just standing around.
Yes,
so,
poses of him to be.
That's a little something.
Hey, listen, totally worth it.
Yeah,
Total. I would color pictures of Jason Momoa.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be pink, purple, and whatever. But again, allow your imagination
Yeah.
to do what you want, right? Like, things like that. That's your space. So kind of take control of your space a little bit and give yourself some time. Please remember to mind your mental health. Again, our 30-second countdown is going away. So, like, for those of you who are used to getting a little extra time to like sneak in here, I'm talking to
Be
you, Party
wary.
Pie. You guys just it's going away. So we're gonna have a shorter roll into the show when the show starts, but it's gonna help us on the back end with a lot of stuff we need to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
This coming weekend, we have Fan Expo Philly. I'm not completely positive I'm going to make it to that, but if I do, it'll be Friday and I won't be there long. I'm going to drive in. I'm going to go to the convention. I'm going to leave, get cheesesteaks, and
Get cheesesteaks.
I have to have cheesesteaks. And then we have Big Lick Nova at Manassas Mall. That's this weekend, so Saturday and Sunday. We will be there both days. So, if you happen to be in the area, come through. If you see us, say hi. Tap us on the shoulder, give us a hug. We'll be happy to see you. Now, one final time, I want to thank you again, Susan, for coming and hanging out with us.
Yes,
I know you've been up and ripping and running all day.
You're spending so much of the time talking to me. I really took over your show. Whoops, sorry.
Perfect. Perfectly fine. 100% worth it. You know what I mean? So yes, thank you for doing that. Again, you all please go follow Susan, support. Listen to the podcast, buy the audiobook and other books. But again, thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, for sure.
It was fun.
I'm glad you had a good time.
I
Jokes?
Mm-hmm.
Can we end the show?
Think we can go ahead and shut things down?
Then I need you to tell the people what I need them to know.
Remember, y'all, just because you have a well thought out plan doesn't make it a good idea.
With that, we're out. Toodles and Loos.
Loading snacks.